What's up? Troy Jones. All right, so I wake up this morning. I stayed off of my social media for the first couple of hours. I've wanted to make sure I don't start my mornings out just logging into Facebook or LinkedIn and things like that. So anyways, started out, got a message. Troy Jones tagged me in a post, and you've thrown me a curveball this morning, brother. It's a great question. I feel like I can answer it, but now you've kind of occupied my brain now with what to respond with, because I want it to be helpful. I want it to be meaningful. I don't want it to just be a lead pop sales pitch, because that's not really what I'm part of this group to do, in my opinion. Of course, I rock lead pops, and I would love for all of you to be clients of ours. But more importantly, I want to be able to add value, whether or not you're a lead pops client. So, your question kind of occupied my brain. I've got all this other stuff going on that I've had planned today, and your question kind of keeps coming back to my head, and I wanted to get to this for you. And I appreciate it. I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know it's one of those things I do take seriously. So, your realtors struggling with some of these gimmicks that keep popping up all over the place with different incentives for home buyers and sellers to go with some of these shops that are partnering with, big entities like Amazon. That's a good question. It does go beyond what leadPops does from a core offering standpoint, because I feel like this goes into how to train your realtors and how to help your realtors with their mindset and their sales strategies and their ability to talk to their clients. So a leadPops tool or system or service that can help your realtors be better at talking through some of these objections and some of these challenges and being able to kind of overcome those. I don't know that there is a leadPops tool that does it, but to kind of speak to it a little bit more, they're in a position where they've got to sell themselves. They've got to create value. They've got to say that, hey, getting a washer and dryer for from Best Buy or whatever, this discount offering or this new, perk you're going to get over here, here's what it's not going to do for you. Working with someone that's maybe sold 2 houses in the last year and has no track record of success or getting the job done, but you're thinking about going with these people because of this little perk over here. You save a couple grand on some kitchen appliances, and you've lost $15,000 in terms of what you could have gotten for your home. So I feel like that's kind of the conversation that they have to look at. It's like, what can I bring to the table that's more valuable and can position me as the right choice for you as a consumer when you're looking at everybody trying to throw some perk or incentive at you to go with them instead. So it's really on the agents to get better and be better, and to know that times are changing. Obviously, the way things have been going for so long, it's not going to continue that way forever. People are cut rate discounting this and that. There may be a time where they need to consider what they're making on a deal. I know nobody wants to drop their pants on price, but that's something that they will have to figure out. If they can't overcome pricing objections or incentives being thrown at their clients based on the value they bring to the table, well, maybe there's a point in time where getting 3% or 5 or 6% on a deal, if they close, they do both ends of the transaction, that's not going to be that way forever, right? What we're making on a loan is not going to be what it is now today in a couple of years from now, right? Gary V, I'm not sure if you were, I don't think you were at the AIM conference at Fuse. He was specifically talking about how much time it would take to close a deal in the past, or maybe this wasn't Gary, this might have been Matt from UWM. Either way, there's a part of the conversation where someone that's pretty smart was talking about how long it takes to close a deal now versus back in the day, and what your hourly rate is today when you consider how much you make on a deal. Even if it is less per deal, the amount of time you're spending on closing a deal is considerably less. So same kind of thing, if you look at the real estate business, how much is being automated in terms of just the paperwork signing, how much can be accomplished by people looking at houses and doing a lot of that online, maybe things like Matterport 3D tours, things like that can help people really know whether a property is right for them before having to go out and see it and tour that home. So, using tech and leveraging what's out there. I'm a big fan of Matterport 3D tours. I think as a listing agent trying to pick up listings, drones and drone footage should be standard. 100% should be looking at quality photography, partnering up with a good photographer in the local market that you can maybe work with and introduce to listing agents, maybe spend some money and invest in things like that. Hey, I'll split the cost on the photography with you. Let's get a professional in here to take some beautiful pictures of this home, do some drone footage when maybe that's applicable. I know not all homes are perfect for that or ideal for that, but looking at these kinds of solutions, looking at, I think it's just a smart idea as a mortgage originator to look at, hey, a seller is probably, they're going to be a buyer, right? In a couple of months' time. How many buyers come through and look at that home? One's going to buy that property. How many introductions or connections or ins can I make if I'm tight with that listing agent? I help them do some of the marketing. I help them, hey, we're going to split the cost on the photography. That means when you list that home, I'll do this. I'll send out an email blast to my database with a just listed, check out this home. In that email blast, I'm going to use get pre-approved with a call to action button in that email, the same way I showed you Quicken's doing it, linking to a smart lead capture form, leadPops. So when I do an email blast to announce this new property, I'm using that email blast to not only keep in front of clients, but I'm using it also as a way to funnel people into my lead capture form. Then I'm partnering with that listing agent to help them promote that property in my Facebook ads that either you're running yourself or somebody I hope that knows what they're doing is running those ads for you. leadPops offers that service. We do listing ads specifically, which is another great way to kind of partner with agents, give them more ammunition that they can use in their listing presentations, right? We want to help them win more listings. That's the big thing most agents want. They want more listings. If we can now take some of the Facebook ad data that we've been able to accumulate when we're running an ad for a week or 2 weeks, and now we can show, like, check this out. Just in the last 2 weeks of time, we've gotten 20,000 views of this ad. Here's the click-through rate. Here's the kind of exposure I'm going to be able to get for your listing. So that becomes a couple things. You partnering with an agent, helping them market their property, using their property to help you generate buyer leads, giving them more that they can now add to their listing presentation, to their slide deck, or to whatever they're using to present why they're the best agent for the job. 97% of these buyers are on the internet. Here's what we're doing to make sure you're getting maximum exposure online. Here's a quick snapshot of some of the ads we run for listings. When we get you listed, we're going to put this thing out there, not just on the MLS and a for sale sign, but we're doing different ads online. Facebook is a big part of our strategy. Here's kind of a snapshot of some of the last few listings that we put up, and this is the kind of activity you can expect and marketing that you can expect from us as your partner. Now, if you're running those ads and you're the one supplying some of these screenshots, through, for example, leadPops in that effort, now all of a sudden you live inside that agent's listing presentation and they're talking about some of the stuff they're partnered with you on to help them look better to sellers, right? I mean, that's the name of the game. How can I get you more exposure than the next guy? How can I sell your home quicker and get you more money for your property? So if we can empower them and make them better at that, using some of the tools and systems and strategies that we're offering over at leadPops, I think all these things start to add up. It's just strategy and not being afraid on your end to spend money to invest in some of these different ideas. If I can split the cost on a professional photographer, what's that, $150, $200, have someone come in, take some pictures of the house. You have that lined up instead of the agent taking a picture with their phone of a wall or whatever some of this ridiculous stuff you see uploaded online might be. If you can get your foot in the door at an early stage of that decision-making process for a now seller, future home buyer, plus you can start to get dibs on all the buyers that are going to be coming through to look at that property once it's listed. There's some value there. Email blast just listed. If you or someone that you work with can be at maybe some of those open houses with an iPad and your either your application or ideally like a lead funnel for getting pre-approved to get a pre-approval letter on the spot type setup, all these things are starting to kind of add up. And I think that investing in the marketing, teaching the agents how to speak about what matters and what they're doing that's different and that's meaningful, above and beyond, getting a washing machine or a free sink or something like that by going with the guy that is hooked up to Amazon. It's just a change of mindset, understanding that, hey, things are changing in the industry. You've got to adapt. You've got to be able to be smart about your marketing. You've got to understand, hey, the buyers are on the internet. You've got to be able to show your sellers that that's where it's at, and bringing in leads as a partner to your realtors, being able to consumer direct lead gen yourself. So you're not relying on agents, but you're able to use that as a way to get your foot in the door with good agents who maybe aren't as worried about some of this stuff. So, there's a couple things. Agents you're working with, right? How can we empower them? The agents that you think are maybe struggling a little bit that you'd like to build better relationships with. Also, generating your own leads using some of these different strategies, consumer direct, your website generating leads for you, Facebook ads, some of the other things leadPops is doing to help you drive traffic, that generates leads for you, consumer direct style. And oftentimes the leads you generate indicate right on the lead form. We ask the question, are you working with a real estate agent? And in many cases, about 50% of the time, actually, the data shows us they say no, they're not working with an agent. That becomes an opportunity, obviously, to make an introduction and connect that buyer with any agent you want. That means you don't have to send it to a realtor you're already working with. That's your opportunity to pick up the phone or reach out to an agent you've never spoken with that is a baller in your local market that, they're not necessarily loyal to their current loan officers, right? I hear all the time loan officers talking about, hey, that's a struggle that I have, is agents aren't really loyal. Hey, that's great. That means if you're on the offense, you can go pick off realtors that are already working with other loan officers, and it's not impossible. So that's actually a pretty cool thing if you're coming at it from, hey, I'm going to go hunting agents. I'm going to go find some realtors that I know in my market are already working with loan officers. That's a given. How can I get my foot in the door? I would like to address any objection right up front. Hey, I know you're already working with loan officers. I'm sure they're good people for the most part. But my experience is that loan officers don't really typically do anything to help their agents grow their business. It's never a two-way street when it comes to lead generation and referrals. It's always you sending them clients. I think in 2020, that blows my mind that there's loan officers with that mindset that are waiting for you to send them clients and they never return the favor. We take a completely different approach. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about some things we're doing with our agents, some different ways we can actually help you generate business, help you win more listings, help you get more good buyers, good qualified leads, and want to see if you're open to that conversation. I could literally pick up the phone and cold call realtors and have additional meetings with good agents that I've never spoken with within a couple hours of making some of those calls, or a cold outbound email to an agent that you find that's good, that's producing. Ideally, you can find these people pretty easily. You know who's producing what. You can typically look up MLS data. You can look up agents in any given market by doing Google searches and finding who's on the first page of Google and strategically reach out to the ones that are doing pay-per-click ads, who have their own website. Those are the best agents to work with, not the one that doesn't do any marketing that is part-time or relying on the little page they've got on their broker's website, and that's their internet presence. Like, we got to be strategic about which agents we even want to spend time and partner with. But knowing that if I'm approaching a new realtor for the first time, they've already got loan officers, I'm going to talk about that. Hey, I'm sure you've got loan officers you're already working with. I'm sure they're good people. But again, my experience is that LOs typically do nothing for their agents. It's like they promise to do a good job on the loan and that they'll answer your calls, and that's about it. I mean, that should be expected. Here's what we're doing that's way different. We're in it to help you, blah, blah, blah. Like I said earlier with some of that scripting, it's all actually in this book. Chapter 12, all the scripting that I talked about is in there. And I've done this. When I first started developing this solution and the strategy, I actually was getting on the phone with my clients and pitching their realtors for them because they told me it sounded good, but a lot of them didn't even believe it would work. So I would actually get on the phone. This is 2014, 2015. I'd get on the phone and pitch their realtors for them and explain some of this logic and ideas. So that's where the scripting came from. I used to cold call. I spent 6 years cold calling real estate agents and mortgage professionals to sell internet marketing. I was really, really good on the phones, and a lot of what I learned and kind of strategized in terms of how to approach a call or a cold conversation, I wrote out in this book and I've used with success. I've helped loan officers win over realtors who have shot them down before on multiple occasions and gotten the agents to give me login to their websites for that loan officer to put their lead funnels on that agent's website where the agent had told him to take a hike in the past. And you know, there's just different ways that you can speak to some of the hot buttons, some of the things you know they're going to want to hear. Some of the things typically are, hey, your LOs don't do anything for you. As soon as you even touch on that, in many cases, you'll hear the realtor start to just bash on their loan officers that they've got that, hey, last year I sent my top guy like $30,000 in business. He sent me a freaking Starbucks card. Like, I'm not looking obviously for a quid pro quo or something in return for every deal, but do something, man. Come on, you know? So these are real conversations that my clients are having, you know, being able to help them generate leads, being able to generate leads yourself that you're able to then use as a way to get your foot in the door with realtors you don't have a relationship with. You know, knowing what some of their hot buttons are, the fact that they don't have LOs that are doing much for them in most cases. Quality leads over quantity. Good realtors already have more deals or more leads than they can deal with in many cases. So being able to speak to the fact that I'll help you get a better qualified lead in most cases than what you're getting off your current website and from a lot of your current marketing efforts. That's where the long form comes in, being able to generate 18 to 20 something points of data along with the name, email, phone number versus just a name and email address or a name, email, phone number that they get from their website when they force somebody to register for their MLS. They a lot of times get 100, 200 leads a month, more than that in many cases. There's only 1 or 2 good leads out of that, and they can't even follow up with them because all they're getting is name, email, phone number. Everything looks the same, and they have to have an internal sales agent or team trying to dig through those leads to call and find the good ones. The sticky bar solution that leadPops offers, that's been huge. I've got clients that are literally a review and a testimonial I got on a big conference call with a retail partner that we have, but he jumped on and he said, the sticky bar that I started installing on my agent websites has created a scenario where now I come into my office and I've got voicemails from real estate agents who are asking me to go out to lunch because they heard or they saw some of what I'm doing with some of my other agent partners in their office. Sticky bar has been huge. Installing your lead funnel, your long form lead funnel on an agent's website, that can be a game changer. You know, even if it doesn't produce hundreds of leads, the 8, 10, 12, 22 leads a month it produces are typically a much higher quality lead than anything they're used to getting. And they're people that are looking for financing. They're a lot closer to the point of transaction, to the point of purchase. So they're 60, 90 days out versus, 12, 18 months out, which is what a lot of these agents are dealing with. So, all these things combined, right? So kind of a long video, 17 minutes, man. Sorry. It's so much to say on this. I could just go on for a long time, but I'm trying to kind of hone in on what I think are some of the most important things. You asked about leadPop solutions. There's solutions for sure, 100% we can do for you, but it's just kind of understanding what you're up against, what they're up against. It's a mindset thing. It's a sales thing, and them knowing, how to better sell themselves, how to better approach this new age. Things aren't what they used to be, and they're going to continue to rapidly change at a fast clip, so adapt, be smart about it, know how to speak the language, find good realtors that you want to partner with. Don't rely on realtors. I know that's a big part of your business, or in most cases, LOs, mortgage brokers, it's a big part of your business. So, be strategic with the realtors you're partnering with. And put yourself in a position where you're not having to chase around agents. You're not as thirsty. If you're not as thirsty, you're going to find that confidence goes up, and that in many cases, you're not having to chase them around. They'll start coming to you. I see this happening every single day for our clients, is that they're no longer having to chase realtors around. It's kind of, there's a much more even playing field when you approach it the right way and you're smart and you're generating your own leads. You're able to use those leads to partner with the right agents and build those relationships and kind of flip that paradigm. So, a lot here. I hope it was helpful. Maybe it's just more confusing. I don't know. You tell me, but I appreciate the question, and you know where to find me, Troy, anybody in this community. If you have questions, you want to talk to my team, that's what we're here for. Feel free to tag me. Happy to help out as much as I can, and you guys have a great Friday, and I'll talk to you real soon.